Trauma is often seen as a source of pain and struggle. But what if there's more to the story? Could something so painful lead to unexpected growth? Let's explore this intriguing possibility. This video will introduce post-traumatic growth, a concept that suggests positive change can follow trauma. It's not about erasing pain, but finding new meaning through it. Are you curious about this? Let's dive deeper together. Coined by researchers Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun, post-traumatic growth, PTG, is a positive psychological change resulting from coping with trauma. It doesn't eliminate the scars, but adds a new layer of meaning to one's life. They discovered that trauma survivors often experience unexpected shifts in perspective, leading to growth. But perhaps it didn't really begin with Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun. Ancient philosophies and spiritual traditions have long recognized growth through suffering. Stoic writings and religious texts explore transformation as a dual nature of trauma. Tedeschi and Calhoun applied a scientific lens to these ancient truths, exploring not just how trauma hurts, but how it can lead to growth. Let's take a closer look at the table comparing trauma symptoms and post-traumatic growth. What you'll notice right away is that these aren't opposite experiences, but they do show very different responses that can happen after trauma. Let's start on the left, trauma symptoms. These are the common ways trauma shows up in the body and mind. Intrusive thoughts and nightmares. These are those uninvited memories or flashbacks that crash in, often without warning. Avoidance of reminders. This might look like staying away from places, people, or conversations that bring the trauma too close. Hypervigilance and anxiety. Your nervous system is on high alert, scanning for danger, even when you're technically safe. Emotional numbing. You may feel disconnected from your emotions or from others, like you're watching life from behind a window. And then there are flashbacks, which aren't just memories, they can feel like reliving the trauma in real time. Now, let's shift to the right-hand column, post-traumatic growth. This is what can emerge after or alongside that struggle. It's not automatic, and it doesn't happen for everyone, but for some people, the process of healing brings unexpected strengths. Instead of constant fear, some people describe a greater appreciation of life. The little things suddenly matter a lot more. Where isolation was once dominant, some survivors build deeper, more meaningful relationships, often with those who truly understand. From uncertainty can come a sense of new possibilities. People might change careers, start new hobbies, or take risks they never would have before. Where they once felt broken, they might begin to sense an increased personal strength, realizing, if I got through that, I can handle anything. And finally, some report spiritual or existential changes, a deepening of faith, a new sense of purpose, or a shift in what they believe about life and themselves. The key takeaway here is that these two lists can coexist. Growth doesn't cancel out pain, and symptoms don't mean someone won't grow. It's messy, it's non-linear, but it's real. So whether someone is in the thick of trauma symptoms or starting to notice glimmers of growth, both are valid, and both are part of the healing journey. Maya hadn't flown in 7 years. The last time she boarded a plane, it was to attend her younger brother's funeral, an unexpected overdose that cracked her world open like a dropped mirror. She remembered the seat number, the way the cabin smelled like recycled air and lemon wipes, and the moment she realized she didn't know how to live in a world where her brother wasn't calling her every Sunday night. For years after, her life shrank. She stopped traveling. Crowds felt unsafe. Their idea of joy felt like a betrayal. But today, she stood in line at gate Celsius 11 with her boarding pass in a tight grip, heading to a writer's retreat in Oregon. She had almost said no. She still didn't like flying, but something inside her was different now. Not lighter, not healed, just sturdier. Maya had started writing again 2 years ago. At first, it was just angry letters she never sent, then journal entries, then essays, then, unexpectedly, a fellowship application she assumed would get rejected. It didn't. She found herself writing about grief, about surviving it, not conquering it, but living with it. And in the process, she discovered her voice. It wasn't polished, but it was honest, and people responded to that. The flight attendant asked, "Would you prefer window or aisle?" Maya smiled. Window. As the plane lifted off, she looked out over the clouds and thought of her brother. She wasn't over his death, not really, but she no longer avoided the pain. In fact, she had learned how to let it sit beside her without taking over. The air up here felt clearer. She felt strangely connected, not in spite of what she had lost, but because she had allowed that loss to shape her. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was running from something. She felt like she was moving towards something new. and that she realized was its own kind of growth. PTG isn't about finding silver linings or denying pain. It's about honoring trauma and discovering a new self. Not everyone will experience PTG, and that's perfectly okay. In your Advocacy Academy course, we'll discover some specific strategies for helping clients work toward post-traumatic growth. If you have questions or need support, check out the resources available on the Advocacy Academy website.